Around 6 months ago, I've made a video that explored how Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, how did they use to keep their journals? What did they use to write in them? That video quickly became one of the most popular videos on my channel, and many of you left comments asking me to go deeper into the ideas and into the lives of those Stoic philosophers. For this reason, I decided to launch a series of videos on my channel which are going to explore the lives of great Stoic philosophers. In each episode, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the lives of those philosophers, about their key ideas, and we will also discuss how we can apply those ideas to our daily lives. I decided to dedicate the very first episode to my favorite Stoic philosopher. His name is Epictetus, and those of you who follow my channel for some time know that I quote Epictetus almost in every of my video. The reason why I decided to dedicate the very first episode of this series to Epictetus and not to Marcus Aurelius is because I believe that Epictetus had a unique life circumstance. In contrast to Marcus Aurelius, who was born a Roman emperor, and Seneca, who was a rich Roman politician, Epictetus was born a slave, and he gained his spiritual freedom long before he gained his legal one. In fact, Epictetus has a great quote where he says that freedom is not a legal status, freedom is a state of mind. I believe something like this couldn't be said by Marcus Aurelius, because Marcus Aurelius never experienced what is it like to be someone else's property. That was what Epictetus experienced for the first 30 years of his life. His master was cruel even according to ancient Roman standards. There is a story of his master twisting Epictetus's leg so badly that he broke it, and Epictetus didn't utter any sound. He didn't cry in pain or anything. He just warned his master. He said that if you twist my leg further, you'll break it and I won't be able to fulfill my duties as a slave. You know, he had an incredible self-control. Can you imagine the level of cruelty that Epictetus experienced in the hands of this cruel, merciless master that he had? We know that he had a limp throughout his life. He couldn't walk properly. This is the reason why Epictetus said that the life should be treated like a theater play, and each of us are assigned roles that we cannot choose. We can be assigned a role of being a rich, handsome man, but we equally could be assigned a role of a poor and ugly one. It is the way we play our roles throughout our lives that's what matters. He said that personal merit could not be found in an external source. In any case, we know that before Epictetus obtained his freedom, he used to attend speeches of a guy called Musonius, who was a Stoic philosopher. And we can assume that those speeches helped Epictetus throughout his difficult times as being a slave. One of the ideas of Epictetus that influenced me a lot in my life, he says that we don't allow people to abuse our body, right? Why do we then allow them to abuse our time? We won't allow people to, take and do anything they want with our body, but we do that with our time. People waste it to the things that don't matter. And I try to remind myself very often about this and what Epictetus said about time. He said that we should surround ourselves with people who uplift us, who make us better, who do not trigger our negative sides. This is a simple advice that can completely change your life. When you try to filter people, activities that you do by judging and saying, does this bring me a genuine pleasure that makes me better? He says that we should discriminate what ideas and what images do we put into our minds. In our time, when there are so much information, so much news about everything, about everywhere, this clutters our minds, and Epictetus warned us about this 2,000 years before. He couldn't imagine the amount of information that we get today. There was a story of how Epictetus witnessed a conversation that his master had with one of the richest Roman politicians at the time. This rich politician complained to master. He said, I I am left only with $3 million according to our money. And Epictetus's master said, $3 million? How do you survive on such pennies? You are practically poor. He saw how much time people spend on gaining social status that, according to him, made people even more miserable.
Hello guys, from the Hellfire Caves, a secret society where Benjamin Franklin was member of. I just wanted to add one more thing on the Epictetus's video. He said that we should remember the famous phrase memento mori, that we all must die. And I think it is one of the key principles of his philosophy and applicable to his teachings about time. I'll make a separate video on Hellfire Society, which was a secret society, as I said. Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to add.
Luckily, Epictetus survived till the age of 30 and he gained his legal freedom, which, of course, at this point, if you are a slave for 30 years, you stop caring about it that much, especially if you're someone like Epictetus who focuses on spiritual freedom first. Epictetus moved to Greece and he wanted to be at the roots where Stoic philosophy started, and he gained a very large following there. It is said that the Emperor Hadrian, the man who adopted Marcus Aurelius, the future Roman emperor, he came to visit and listen to Epictetus' speeches and lectures. I guess there is no bigger flattery to someone who was a slave to be heard by someone who is an emperor, you know. I think this is what makes Epictetus' life so unique from anyone else's. The man who had no hope, he had no hope to survive till the age of 30, who had no freedom at all, he became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers. And to conclude, I wanted to say about one last lesson. Epictetus says, if you want to be a writer, write. He emphasizes everything on the action. He says, don't waste time on theory, on reading books. Practice what you want to be known for. For someone like me who spends a lot of time reading books, a lot of time theorizing about life and how to do things, this is a very useful advice that I try to remind myself quite often. We don't know how did Epictetus die, but we know that he didn't write anything actually himself. All we know about his life comes from his student Arrian, who compiled Epictetus's lectures, who wrote down, first of all of it, and compiled what we know today as Discourses and Enchiridion. And I would really recommend, if you want to get familiar with Epictetus's work, this edition by Penguin is the best place to start, in my opinion. This was the very first episode in my series of the Lives of the Stoics. I hope you enjoyed this short video. I hope it will be useful to you. If you found this interesting, hit the like button, leave a comment, tell me a little bit what you are curious about, what advice you found the most useful. I'll see you in the next episode in this series of the Lives of the Stoics.